It's just gone lunchtime. This is the third and final hour of All Angles here on eNCA. Good afternoon. I'm Masego Rahlaga. So we've been following numerous stories for you throughout the course of the day, and many of those stories have developments now. So if you've just joined us, here's how far those stories have advanced at lunchtime. All right, I am joined by eNCA reporters Moloko Moloto, Letiwe Mdluli, as well as Desin Thathia. Moloko, I'll start with you. You are in Pretoria, where the president delivered that keynote address at SARS Receivers Anniversary. He applauded workers for fighting even state capture, I guess alluding to Bain & Co. and National Treasury banning that company from doing business with our government for 10 years. What else was said?
So SARS is commemorating or celebrating its 25th anniversary since it was founded. Of course, it was founded as government amalgamated the agencies that existed before democracy, and they were consolidated into one institution. And of course, it's been lauded as one institution that has been exemplary over the years. And that record was actually blemished, according to the speakers who were here, including President Cyril Ramaphosa and the current Commissioner of SARS, Edward Kisweta. They spoke about the years of state capture when this institution was actually infiltrated by companies such as Bain, which was blamed for coming in to really siphon off millions of rands from the hardworking South Africans. Of course, Bain later had to repay the about 168 million rand as a form of atoning for the wrongs that it had committed. However, we have seen in the past days Bain writing to the National Treasury as well as the SARS, protesting the decision of the National Treasury to ban it from doing business with the South African government for the next 10 years. The president, as he was addressing the 12,000 workers of SARS, many of whom connected online in various centers of SARS across the country, commended or lauded them as the lifeblood of this economy, saying that they continue to do their work with dedication. And the president is saying that he has implemented some of the recommendations of the Nugent Commission, which was the one that really delved deeper into the state capture allegations. Of course, we saw another commission by the Chief Justice Zondo. The president was saying the people who work here, they are doing a good job, saying that without the revenue from SARS, this company will collapse. But let's listen to Kisweta, the commissioner of SARS, as he was addressing the workers.
When we think of our work, we don't think of our work as the administrators of law. We don't think of our work as making sure that tax policy is transformed into tax aspiration, but we express the reason why we do this as our higher purpose. And it is in the knowledge that the work we do is transformative. It touches the lives of every South African, and in particular, the most vulnerable in society, as we saw during COVID, would be left completely destitute were it not for the resources that is yielded by the work of this wonderful institution we call SARS.
All right, let's come to you in Opongolo in KZN. You were at that horrific car or accident scene where 20 people were killed in that truck crash. This included young school children. And the Premier today visiting their families. How's that going?
Well, Masego, the Premier has visited those bereaved families here in Opongolo. They started off here on the N2, where they conducted a roadblock, assessing some of the vehicles that are passing on the N2. That's because of the horrific accident that took place here more recently, where 20 people lost their lives. Community members have been calling for interventions from government and also national government. We saw the Transport Minister coming to this area about 2 weeks ago, where he made a lot of promises. Some of those promises included extending this roadway and also providing safer pathways for children to cross. This is a residential area and there's a lot of schools that are located along the N2. Some of the cries from the community also included that they have been making calls to government to intervene because they had been saying for years that this roadway is not safe. So now the local government here in KZN is trying to intervene and also come up with solutions as to how they can make this roadway safe for both trucks and also for the residents of Upongolo. While speaking to the Transport MEC here in the province, he did say that one of their interventions is increasing police in this road. They are saying that more police visibility will ensure that road users or truck drivers on the N2 adhere to road rules all the time. They are saying that they're also going to be putting up a satellite police station in this area because one of those calls from communities was that there is no police station in this area, which means that there's no police that are situated here. While speaking to the MEC for Transport and Community Safety a bit earlier on, this is what he had to say.
From the 16th of September, we've already stopped more than 500 trucks that are operating here, and we have already given 155 tickets for the wrongdoings for all those trucks that were stopped. We must appreciate that we have engaged, we have requested our team from provincial government to work with national and work with local, to work with Amakosi and work with transport industry and also the business forum, because it is important that as the N2 have been stopped, that all trucks are not using N2, especially the coal trucks. It's affecting the economy of the country, of the province, and also of the local. But we agreed that the economy is not important than the life of our people.
Right, and Desin, let's conclude with your story. There's belief that a serial killer is on the loose in Twalume after that decomposing body of a woman was found. What makes police believe that it might be the acts of a serial killer? Have there been other bodies found there before?
Well, Masego, if you look at this area and if you go back to 2020, that's when there was a serial killer that was operating in the area. So there were 6 women that were killed and 6 bodies that were found in sugarcane fields. I'm sure you can see from the picture behind me that this is quite a secluded area. And during that time, the people that were behind these murders made use of this terrain and were dumping bodies here. But police have now, in their latest update, told us that the murders that have taken place this year, they don't believe that it's linked to a serial killer or linked to those previous cases. What they're saying is that although there have been no arrests in the recent incidents, they're saying that it appears that it could be domestic issues that have led to that. And most recently this week on Monday, there was a body of a woman that was found at the roadside just not far from where I'm standing now. That was discovered by workers that were working in the vicinity, and she was wrapped in a sheet. There were some blankets nearby. That's what drew their attention to that discovery. And we are now told by police in this latest update, we've been keeping tabs on this case, they say that the woman has been identified by her family. It's almost conclusively, but they can't say for sure yet because they're still awaiting DNA results. Remember, the body was starting to decompose. This woman that they believe it is went missing last week from a home in Malogazi. That's about an hour away from where we are standing now. But what it's done is, although this investigation is still ongoing, I can tell you that it's created a sense of panic here. Residents are also upset. They're shocked. They believe that Mtwalume has a bad name because of what happened in 2020. There are women that are afraid to venture out here at night just purely because this resembles so much what happened here just 2 years ago. We had an opportunity, as I said, to speak to the SAPS. Let's listen to part of that interview that I conducted with Brigadier J. Naika.
Well, police were informed of this body on Monday when workers who were trenching for fiber cables discovered the body dumped alongside the road in dense bush, and they contacted us. What struck police immediately was that she was wrapped in a sheet and there was a blanket that was next to the body, which gave them also an indication that this person was killed somewhere else and dumped here. The description of the woman, although she was starting to decompose, from what they could see, she looked like a woman in her 40s. and there was no one that was in this area that was missing, fitting that description. So they also knew that this woman was not from here. And